Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you are going to be listening to, we received this confession in Zulu and it was translated to English. Well, here is the story. Good morning, Brother Nashi. I have a confession that I want to make. My story, it goes on like this. I do not have any peace of mind at all. No, I don't. Every night I struggle to sleep because of what I did. I took a life, unfortunately, because I believed in each and every word that the witch doctor had told me. When I went for this consultation, the witch doctor told me that in order for me to make money, blood was needed. Something was needed from me in exchange. That lady, whenever I think about her, this lady did not even deserve to die like that. But at that time, I had developed a cold heart and an obsession to prove to my family that I could do it too. This lady, my brother, that ended up dying so that I can fulfill and respect this covenant that was now there between that shrine and me. This lady, I see her wherever I go to. My friends, actually, they think that I am mad because I am now seeing ghosts, but I see her. Whenever I see her, she just stands right in front of me and then she will be crying. Brother, I am losing my mind. This is how it all started. I grew up being a child who was not good in school. All of my siblings were very intelligent, but I was the only one who struggled with school and I never understood anything. My mother would praise my siblings and she would always make fun of me and said to me, I will be the one who would look after firewood and the cows back in the village. Nobody ever listened to me whenever I would try to speak. Even though I would be making some contributions to the family, no one would ever listen to me. It was more like I was stupid. This is the background of my story. All my siblings became doctors, lawyers. The least one who did not achieve what we can say was a big achievement according to my mother's standard was the one who became a teacher. As for me, I was just a nobody with no future. And unfortunately, this is how I ended up in Maputo. In Maputo, witch doctors and traditional healers are very common. And going to visit a witch doctor there, it is not even a taboo. At this point, I was very desperate for success and I wanted to prove to my entire family that I could do it. I was a man too. A friend of mine encouraged me to go and see a traditional healer/witch doctor who told me that for me to make money, I had to sacrifice something. One way or the other, blood was going to be needed, human blood, and I had to find someone, cut a head and bring the head to him. The love of money is the root of all evil, they say. Even though I was not an academic, I had the love and the spirit of Ubuntu in me. Where was I going to find a head of a human being? This thing that I was about to do, if I was going to go ahead with this thing, it was a criminal thing. I thought of a plan and I asked a friend of mine who worked in a mortuary to organize for me a head. This was another option that had been given to me because I was not in a position to eliminate someone's innocent head just to give it to this witch doctor. Well, a head was found. When this head was found, what we did was that this traditional healer had told me that once we had found this head of an innocent victim, if the person was already dead, working with the people from the mortuary, the head was supposed to be cut and I had been given some charms, but I had to look for a skull of a baboon. After we had slaughtered this other monkey, we went to this other area where it is a mountainous area and I hunted down for a monkey. I shot down that monkey, my brother, and then in that mountain, I felt so sorry for that innocent monkey that I had shot down with my pistol. I then slaughtered that monkey and removed off the head. I then returned back to that newfound friend of mine who was working in the mortuary and I said, this is what I have, and we had to do it before it was too late. We then rushed back to the mortuary. We did this at night. We then laid the body of that man. This man, he had been involved in a fatal accident, and his family had never went to claim the body, and it was suspected that the guy was not a South African. It was suspected that the guy could have been from Malawi. This guy, he might have came here a very long time ago. His body was laid on the table. I was even afraid to touch it, but I had to touch it so that the rituals can actually work. That man, he went to work with a hacksaw. Let me tell you something about these people that work in the mortuaries. They have heart like a heart of a lion. He was actually smoking his cigarette as he was busy using that hacksaw on that lifeless body of that man who was an unknown alien. After his head had been removed, we then placed the head of that monkey as if we were trying to connect it to the lifeless body. I then started to sprinkle the charms on that head of that monkey just a little bit until it blinked. Then I quickly removed it and I placed it. You know, there are those ShopRite bags. I had one. I placed it in there. Then that man returned back the body and the head back together. I went back to the old witch, and as he looked at me, he shook his head and told me that I was not taking him serious. I was playing with fire, and if I continued to do such silly things, I'll end up being mad. He said, "Get out of my place. How dare you bring this thing to me?" I left wondering, how did he know that I didn't actually perform the ritual as he had suggested? And I was scared to kill someone. So I then returned back, my brother. I was sleeping at this other hotel, and I made sure that people were not going to find out that I was walking around with the head of a monkey. I called my friend and I told him that all the things that we had done, that witch doctor had actually refused. I needed to think very fast because this was sometime in August and December. All of my siblings will be home, coming to visit mom with their wives, and I wanted to prove to them that I was not stupid. I was going to make a grand entrance, arrive driving whatever car, and shock them. Back to my story. Days passed while I thought of a plan. I was not a murderer, and I was not going to kill someone. That was when my friend advised me to hire a woman of the night to strangle her. This was not something that I wanted to do. This was not what I wanted to do. But my heart had been filled with the love of money, and I became obsessed with this idea. Well, I hired a woman of the night, took her to the beach at night. We did our act, and I told her to wait for me as I rushed to take the money. I told her that I had forgotten my wallet in my flat. She agreed, and I gave her my phone. I went to this other nearby bush, and I took a brick. I then hit her, my brother, but when I was about to pull out my panga so as to cut her head, I then saw that there was a police van that was driving around. So I ran very fast. And I went back to my flat. I watched from a distance as those two police officers were speaking with that woman. She kept on pointing around, but she was feeling really dizzy at that time. She could not even know what was going on. When I saw that I had failed, I then decided to return back to Maputo so that I can speak with this old man. When I returned back, this old man looked at me and he laughed. And he said, "I saw you through the mirror. I saw you. You do not have the nerves to do it. Why didn't you drag her into the bushes so that you can just cut off your head?" But I was scared, my brother. Well, that man then told me that he was going to assist me. He said that he was going to assist me and he was going to sell this head to me. they brought out this head. I don't know how these things actually work. When they gave me this head of a person at that time, it seemed to be something that was physical. But after they had placed this head inside this other woven basket, my brother, that was when I saw that everything had just disappeared. On my trip, returning back from Maputo, returning back to South Africa, there was nothing inside that woven basket. But the moment that I came back into my flat, I then heard a voice. It was the voice of a woman. She was speaking in Portuguese. She only spoke once, and I screamed. That was when she said, "I am thirsty. Give me a glass of water." I was wondering, what was I supposed to do? Then she said that, "You do not have to worry, because it is only you who can see me. No one can see me. Please bring me a glass of water, for I am thirsty." Immediately, that same witch doctor from Maputo, he appeared into my flat. But he was appearing as if someone was projecting his image into my room. He then said that, "My son, you did well, but do not be afraid. Give her a glass of water." After I had given her a glass of water, immediately I saw that in the palm of my hands there were new banknotes. From that time, I moved to Joburg and I started living my life. I had the money, I had access to anything that I wanted, but then I was told that I was not allowed to sleep on a bed. My brother, now my problem is I do not sleep at night. Before we get there, 4 months later, I went home. It was Christmas time. I arrived on the 26th of December. I was driving the latest VW. I had bought this cash and I had all the paperwork. My entire family stood and looked at me. My mom said, "Whose car is this? I'm sure that you stole this car." "Well, if you stole this car, you're going to jail and I'm not going to bail you out." When she said that I had stolen this car, I then gave her the paperwork and she was shocked. She then said, "How? You never. My brother, well, fast forward. My problem now is every time in the night as I sleep on the floor, when I open my eyes, I see this other lady, a Portuguese lady. Sometimes we understand each other when we are talking to each other. Then there are times whereby I do not even understand her. All that she says to me is, "Why did you kill me? You had me killed. You had me killed." She showed me who she is, how she was murdered. And what confuses me a lot, during that time when I was in Maputo, there is a period whereby I blacked out and I do not remember anything. The only thing that I remember is when I woke up, there was blood everywhere in that traditional healers consulting room. And this ghost, this spirit, whenever this Portuguese woman appears before me, she will be crying, and she will be crying. She will be headless, but at the same time, she will be crying. Each and every time, she will be walking up and down in my bedroom, bumping on the walls, and she will be saying that, "I can't see. I need to return back to my people. Please return me back to my people." And she will be wearing that same dress, but filled with blood. I once spoke with that traditional healer's assistant a very long time ago, and I said, "But what happened to me? There was one time whilst we were having a consultation, I woke up. When I woke up just before this other head that I bought had been handed to me. What happened to me? I do not remember anything, but I woke up with blood all over my hands." Then that man said that, "No, it was just part of that ceremony. We had slaughtered a goat, and after slaughtering the goat, the charms that the traditional healer had used on me, it was too powerful, so I blacked out." I was then told by this old man He said that it is time for another sacrifice. He only said that another sacrifice that you have to do, the time is around the corner, but it is your own blood that you have to sacrifice, meaning that one amongst my relatives has to die. But the question is, who? How do I get myself out of this? If I do not do it, I am going to be the poorest of all. I am tired of hiring ladies at night. These ladies that I hire, whenever I give them money, wherever they go to, I only wish that these ladies that sell their bodies will know the consequences of being given ritual money and sleeping with someone who is a ritualist. Some of the stuff I can't tell you. Please help me. I will read the comment section. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was forwarded to one of our admins in isiZulu. Then it had to be translated to English. Strange things do happen in this world.